This is traditionally a Malay dish, right? So do people assume that you are Malay?
They assume me as a Malay, but actually I'm an Indian Muslim. My partner for Crave is a Chinese. When I want to partner with him, everybody will say, why you partner with Chinese? When I got married, some of the people say that, why you choose a Malay? Nasi Lemak is supposed to be a jasmine rice, but we change it to Indian basmati rice. And the sambal is actually not a pure Malay sambal. We mix a bit of Indian and Japanese inside.
Japanese also?
Yes, Japanese seafood. Yeah, we got it for the Japanese food inside.
That's probably from your grandmother's influence.
So Crave is actually a multiracial brand.
Oh, I see.
Really Singaporean brand. I feel in Singapore there's no such thing as I am Indian and I'm Malay. It's just a Singaporean thing.
The CMIO on the IC, right? Do you think it shouldn't be there?
I think yes. You should not put that. I said, why there is a race there? You put that Singaporean really what?
My dad's Indian, mom's Filipino.
I'm going to ask you, what does it say on your IC?
It doesn't say Indian.
I think it's a racist that the Indian prey on Chinese girl.
Pray.
Oh, it doesn't?
It doesn't say Filipino. It says Cindy.
On your IC? Cindy? I'm Cindy too, but it doesn't say Cindy.
So I don't know how. On mine it says Cindy.
Do you feel like it boxes you in, identity-wise?
Not really lah. I mean, end of the day, it's just on the IC, right? I'm just lazy to go, to go and get it changed.
But what would you change it to?
If I could, I put Cindy Filipino because that is my real race.
But did it ever annoy you having to explain your mixed heritage?
Yeah lah. Especially more for my mom. I feel bad for her. She would send me for like classes or whatsoever, and then I had to explain to them that, oh, that's my mom. Because look alone, we are different skin tone, right?
You grew up in what, like you're 100% Malay or?
My whole family, right? We are like UNESCO. My granddad is from Palak. My brother-in-law is Sri Lankan. My another cousin is Chinese. And then we have a Swedish cousin also who married my cousin. My grandmother, my mom's side is she's born Chinese, but adopted by a Malay family. My wife is Chinese.
Like racial harmony.
Yeah,
family.
racial harmony. Yeah.
So on paper, I guess I'm Arab or others.
Oh, you're others?
Yeah.
Oh.
Both my granddads were Arab. And of course here, you kind of follow your dad's race, right? One grandma, she was Chinese, and then my other grandma was Malay. Honestly, I think in this day and age that you cannot sit a Singaporean down anymore and ask what's your race? You know what I mean? Because everyone's always like a mix of something. I think that there's more to a person than just what it says in the tick box.
What was it like growing up in a Peranakan family?
My grandparents, they spoke Malay, and my mom spoke Malay as well. I think for me, when I was in primary school, I did wonder whether I was more Peranakan than Chinese. I would have a Chinese teacher who said to me, 雪玲你是华人，可是你不会讲华语。
There are times where I know I'm taken on because you're the token minority in this CMIO picture. I choose to see the positive side of things and see it as a step into it.
To me, it's progress if, even on screen, even the visual of seeing a diverse cast can be very powerful.
So actually, there has been a few dramas where when I go for the audition, I know that they want to cast a Chinese person, but then when I audition, we'll change it to a Malay character for the actor. So there's that openness where people look at the actor more than, I want a Chinese role.
But when it comes to policies, right? Let's say the fielding of a team in a GRC, should it be focused just on merit?
I think it's a very fine balance, to be honest. If you were to ask me about GRCs and minority representation, I believe that representation is important, but I also believe that we should not fall prey to tokenism. And it's not just with regards to minority races, but the fact that women are being underrepresented in politics, right? Let's try to push towards more systemic efforts to make sure that people from these groups naturally rise to the top versus us trying to make concessions continuously, because I think in the longer term, it just doesn't do much to improve that representation.
So right now you're an MP for East Coast Siglap. What would you say to people who maybe say the reason why you got into that GRC is because of minority representation?
Do people vote according to ethnic lines? Some argue yes, some argue no. If you ask me, can't I be voted in on my own credential? On a personal level, I am confident, but I'm not quite sure whether my constituents will see it that way too at this point in time. So we probably will have to see the extent to which our population is ready.
How do you think the CMIO model fits in this day and whether it's still relevant?
We saw the census of population recently. It was shown that the number of Malay families in rental flats was increasing. And if we don't have CMIO, and we will not be able to track some of these developments, we won't be able to see how the Malay community, for example, is advancing forward with more the younger ones being able to get to university.
I personally have questioned the CMIO model, but from talking to Dr. Maliki, I can understand the merits from his perspective. At the same time, I do think it needs to evolve. It shouldn't remain static. But as long as we are continuing to challenge, I think we are on the right path.
There's three things I don't talk about in Singapore. Number one is religion. Number two is the PAP. And number three, 下雪. Let's just say the whole cancel culture is scaring me. If you slip up one time, you say something wrong, boom, you get cancelled.